Before David Safran was asked to lend his vocals to an Argentinian Adidas campaign, yeah, you heard that right, he was a relatively obscure songwriter in Chicago writing songs he describes as hysterical realism. We're going to find out the story behind that, but first we're going to hear a tune from David and his band. This is Woman Astride, Facing Away.
Ready? I must accept that love is all her blame. Woman stride, woman stride, woman stride, woman stride, woman stride, facing away.
Woman Astride, Facing Away. That is from David Safran's forthcoming album called Delicate Parts. David Safran on vocals, along with Kate Adams sharing in on the vocals, Brett Bakshis on bass, Aaron Dorfman on nylon string guitar, Patrick Burke on guitar, and Creston Hyde on drums. Shakers, snare, and tambourine. Welcome to the morning shift.
Well, thank you.
I have to say, when I heard that song for the first time, my first reaction was, wow, he sounds like David Bowie from Around Heroes.
Thank you. Thank you again.
Beautiful voice. This isn't the first time you've been here at WBEZ. You were here on Worldview to talk about a project you were involved in that enabled you to share the stage with the guitarist Mark Ribot.
Yes, it's true. Last year.
Yeah, what was that project?
It was a benefit for Amnesty International, and we did that at Martyrs, 2011, I believe.
How did you get involved with that?
I knew the regional director, and she said it's the 50th anniversary, and we want to have a party.
And now, did you actually get to sing as Mark played, or you guys just shared the bill?
We just shared the bill.
Yeah.
We shared the backstage too.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal guitar player.
He's a phenomenal guy. So.
Okay, I have to ask you about this Adidas commercial that you did in Argentina. How did that happen? A guy from Chicago, all of a sudden your voice is being heard in Argentina.
This is true. It's just one of those very bizarre situations.
Yeah.
I think the more you put into this career, the weirder things become. So apparently they had heard, this agency in Argentina had heard my music, and they were working on an Adidas campaign, and they wanted a vocalist that sounded like Jarvis Cocker but had an American accent and a deeper voice, and somehow I was on their radar. So they contacted me, and they pitched this idea, and they said, look, we have the lyrics, and if you don't mind singing lyrical dandelion fluff, let's do this. And it took about 2 weeks.
So did you actually get to go down there, or because of technology the way it is?
We recorded here.
Bummer.
They mixed it. Yeah, but we're going to be working on another project in about a month. So the campaign ended about, I think, 3 weeks ago, the Adidas campaign.
And did that lead to people sort of, wanting to, people in Argentina, number one, but people elsewhere, discovering your music aside from this?
Definitely.
Yeah,
I think so. And they discovered it through a shoe commercial, which is, I mean, there are better ways, and there are worse ways too.
So what was that like as not just someone who's a voiceover artist who happens to sing, but someone who's a musician, writes their own material, yet you're being brought into a studio to sing someone else's material?
Well, I can be extremely difficult, so I was trying to change
in what ways?
In many ways. There's not enough time for me to talk about how difficult I am.
So you weren't being a diva, were you?
Well, what's your definition of that?
Well, I don't know. You tell me.
I love the people that were working for this agency. And honestly, if they said, just sing nothing, just hum, I would do it.
But yet you were looking to make changes, you said.
I was trying to make lyrical changes.
Yeah.
But they weren't having any of it.
Okay, so just give us an example, because I'm thinking, okay, here you have a shoe commercial.
Yeah.
Does he want to use the word gym shoe instead of tennis shoe? I don't know. I'm just.
Oh no, I wanted to quote Yeats. I was trying to.
And they had to remind you. Wait, this is only 60 seconds or something.
Yeah. I mean, the jingle was already set. They just needed my voice. So it's interesting for me because I've spent most of my 20s devoted to the lyric. Sort of trying to write intelligent music for intelligent people and getting me sort of on the fringes of the national music scene doing that, So to sing for a shoe commercial, it's like, but it was fantastic because it changed my perspective and it allowed me to sit back and not really think and just be part of a much bigger project.
It changed your perspective on what?
It changed my perspective on, the whole career really, and how to reach an audience, because licensing is a difficult process, and I think all musicians are trying to license because that's the distribution channel, and trying to get their own material on it.
Right.
And this, I was just basically a glorified voiceover, and that was also interesting for me because I've never been a fan of my own voice. I always thought it sounded like an iceberg splitting apart. So for them to seek me out,
And has this gotten you more voiceover gigs?
There's been a couple. Okay,
we should just let folks know that you can check out the Adidas ad campaign at wbez.org/morning shift. Before we hear another song, David, I do want to touch on your writing style. As I mentioned at the top, you approach your music, you call it sort of hysterical realism.
That's not my term. I think I said I'm trying to drag hysterical realism into pop music.
Explain that, what that is.
I think that just means a sense of great gravity and great play at the same time. And I think it's maybe an exaggerated narrative voice.
Self-deprecation?
That's part of it. I think that's a tricky word because it's too easy as a songwriter to go that route. If there's a certain sense of seriousness and play working simultaneously, I think that's probably my preferred songwriting style.
Well, hey, I want to thank you so much for coming in and sharing your music live. The forthcoming album is called Delicate Parts. David Safran and his band, David on vocals, Kate Adams on vocals, Brett Bakshis on bass, Aaron Dorfman on nylon string guitar, Patrick Burke on guitar. We're going to hear Creston Hyde playing some congas in a moment, and we're going to hear Adult Things. Again, the forthcoming album, Delicate Parts. Some upcoming shows. There will be a listening party in April at Madame Zuzu's in Highland Park. That's Billy Corgan's tea shop, by the way, and also performing a Red Eye session in April as well, and the album will be released this summer. David, thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks, Tony. This is great.
I'm Tony Sarabia. I want to thank Jason Mark for directing, Adam Yaffe and Joe Dassault for helping out with the music, producers, Becky Vlamis, our interns, Taryn Smith, and a sad goodbye to our other intern, Sally Fitz, and Liz Bustamante.